This is Fantology.
You may have heard of us.
All right, what's up, Oathbreakers? This is Steven, your host with Fantology Podcast. I have my lifelong friends Jake, Ben, and Josh on, and we're talking about Wind of Truth again. Hopefully you're not sick of it yet, but this is going to be like our last video of scheduled planned coverage of the book. Then I promise we will move on to something else. But I mean, it was like a massive thing for the fantasy world, and I feel like we need to, get all of our punches in, empty the notebook, everything we want to talk about. And we didn't get Josh in for the last episode. So we want to start off this one by getting Josh's final thoughts on the book. And if you recall, in our last episode, Josh gave some predictions because he had just finished with day 9. So now we're going to review with Josh how he did on his predictions and then get some final thoughts. And if you haven't noticed yet, this is going to be a full spoiler episode. So beware.
Full Cosmere spoiler.
Yeah, everything. Okay, Josh,
Nice.
how do you feel you did on your predictions? I'm gonna give you like pretty good marks.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Can we just rehash quickly some of Josh's predictions for the audience?
We're gonna edit this in. So in the final video, I'm gonna go ahead and edit it in now. How far are you currently?
I just started day 9, so I was making a valiant effort to finish so I could be on.
Wait,
for the
day
full
10.
episode.
I thought you said you finished day 9.
Sorry, day 10. Day 10. I just
Oh my
started day
goodness.
10.
You don't
Okay.
even know where you are.
So you only have like 200
I
days.
just finished day 9.
Heretic
just
Lowlander over here.
I just finished day 9. I'm on day 10, and I was trying my hardest to finish, but I could not do it. So I'm gonna throw out some guarantees, and then you guys can laugh at me after I exit the episode.
Okay, so Josh, let's hear like what's gonna happen at the end of the book.
Yeah, so of course Dalinar is going to kill Gav, who obviously is going to be Odium's champion, and then he is going to, I think, just sticking with my general prediction from the few episodes ago, he's going to be a general for Odium throughout the Cosmere. I think that he is also going to be some sort of vessel for honor. That's been hinted at pretty heavily. And so I think that somehow Odium is going to gain control of the parts of honor, and then we'll also be able to control Dalinar. So we're going to leave it pretty bleak on the shard front of Dalinar possessing most of the power of honor, but also being under Odium's command.
Oh, dang.
Yes.
Okay. How's it going to go for our other
I think that
other heroes? Kaladin, Adolin.
Yeah.
Clearly, Josh only cares about the Contest of Champions. There is no other part of the book.
No, that was the Fantology guarantee I made last time, so I'm re-upping that.
Okay.
I think obviously it's going to be, at this point, I think it has to be that Seth and Shallan at least become heralds. I think that's pretty heavily hinted at that they'll become heralds. And
Shallan
Adolin,
because of the Chana stuff.
Yeah, Shallan because of the Chana stuff. And I mean, it's like hinted that she already has some heraldic powers in terms of her connection to the spiritual realm. At first, we thought it was that it's because she had 2 bonds that she had an extra connection to the spiritual realm. But in fact, it was because of because she was the daughter of a herald. So they're going to for sure be heralds. I'm not sure if we're going to get all 10 new heralds or if it's just going to be rounding out the Oath Pact. I think all 10 heralds. I mean, I think we talked a little bit about that last time, that there would be 10 people between anyway, we don't have to go all through it. Sure. That would be a bit of a stretch for me. That would be cool. I don't know if we'll get all 10 new heralds though. I don't know if we need all 10 new heralds. My herald knowledge isn't like super up to par even throughout this book. I don't know if I could, name off all 10 and where they're at, but
yeah. Right. You're not really sure what exactly Videl can do or who she represents.
If they need to be replaced or not. Yeah, I don't know. But I think obviously I think that Kaladin is going to, I want him to heal Ishar. I think that would be pretty cool if he can somehow heal Ishar, and then Ishar can teach Dalinar Dalinar something important, and then that will help him mitigate the losses
Mm.
from
All
the
kind of
contest of champions.
all kind of
Yeah,
coming together. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Adolin's fate.
Adolin, I mean, I don't know if he's going to become a radiant yet. It seems like when he was being pounded into the ground after after the lines broke, that could be like kind of his moment to actually be broken enough to become a Knights Radiant. Um, and if he was able to move past his like mental blocks and everything, seemed like that broke him down enough. I don't I don't know if that's going to be the case where he can bond Maya now and like restore her, or there's I don't know. I'm not making any strong guarantees, but obviously there's going to be some sort of change. I don't know if that's going to be him becoming radiant or him just finding a way to like. I don't know what's going on with Maya. I still don't know. I don't have any strong guarantees there. Besides
Okay.
that, she's found a way to heal dead eyes. It seems like that's got to be something, but I don't know how or why. Yeah. What other?
I mean, those are
Yeah,
the main things, I guess.
we have Relaine and
You still
and
have what's going on in the Shattered Plains. That's kind of the other main part of the
yeah.
plot.
My impression there was that they had some sort of ruse where um the singers, it's like whoever controls the Shattered Plains would maintain control. So I don't know if it's like going to technically be handed back to that group of singers because they like were in control of it. I think that would be a kind of cool outcome. That was my
The,
impression, but I'm
the
not sure if
listeners, yeah,
the listeners, sorry, did I say singers? The listeners.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're
Yeah.
technically right. Yeah.
Yeah. That was my impression. I'm not sure if that was like meant to be said or if I just like interpreted that wrong, but that's kind of my thought is that, okay, well, if they technically control the Shattered Plains when going into the champion, then that is handed controlled back over to them. So it won't be controlled by the Alethi or by Odium. It could be controlled by them. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's about
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
that's some solid material that we could roast you on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some big moments. I'm ready for them. I hope that there's some big moments. I think that the book needs at least a few more good moments. It's been good, but it needs a few more good
Yeah.
moments, I think. Yeah.
I mean, Sanderson, he likes to deliver those and hold those off till the end. So yeah.
Yeah.
Say one thing about Sanderson. Say he likes to Sanderlanche.
I feel like we're just past the part where like the
Thank you,
Sanderlanche
Abercrombie.
normally starts. So anyway, I'm gonna get back to reading.
Quick-
I might finish
quick-
tonight. Yeah.
Quick rating out of 5 before you go so far.
Out of 5?
Or 10, or like whatever scale you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like sitting at an 8 right now. I think
8
that
out of 5. Nice.
8 out of 5, 4 out of 5, or 8 out of 10.
Extra credit.
I think that right now there needs to be something big that happens if it's going to go above an 8 like that. I'm like, I haven't really let out like a cheer, like audibly, like, cheered yet. And so there needs to be a cheer for it to be above an 8. There's been big moments and you guys will go over those, but I need a cheer for it to go above an 8.
Okay, so everyone's just listened to Josh's recap. So together, like, how do we feel that he did?
Dude, I was impressed, Josh. While you were doing it, I was like, oh, he's getting it. I mean, you're like a little bit like off on Adlin's arc, but like Dalinar and like the whole honor thing, I thought you got pretty spot on there.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. I think most of it was pretty well foreshadowed. I think you guys might have been forgetting how much you knew like going into day 9, but yeah, or going into day 10, I guess. But yeah, like Dalinar taking up the power of honor. I don't know. It's just like if you've read other Sanderson books, then you can. I feel like that's pretty easy to see coming.
That's on the table. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, at the end of Mistborn, it wasn't clear who would end up. That was like the
Well,
big
Mistborn,
twist.
you didn't know anything about it in Mistborn though.
Yeah, but that's kind of where I was basing my prediction.
You do because Vin kind of picked it up and then dropped it at the end of the second book, right?
But I don't feel like you didn't understand. Me as a reader, I did not understand what that even meant until the end of the third one.
We knew far less, but we knew at the end of Mistborn that like it was possible to like have enormous power and to be able to like see how the world was shaped and stuff, and then to give up that power. We definitely saw that in the second
Yeah.
Mistborn book.
Honestly, that's where I was basing most of my Dalinar prediction off of, was some sort of
Mhm.
doing it like Vin, or so that's kind of where I got that idea from.
So Ben in the Discord went all in on Adolin picking up honor. He was very like, this was a 10 out of 10
Phantology
guarantee.
guarantee. I still stand by the fact that that would have been awesome, but I was not accurate at all. 0 out of 10 for accuracy. 1 out of 10 because it was in the same family, but that's it.
Okay, the other thing, which I did listen to most of your guys' episode, which I did get right somehow, was Dalinar both dying and also somehow being a a
like
like
Avatar.
going about an avatar
Yeah.
for Odium, or going about with Odium, which I totally understand. Steven, I think you really didn't like it. I totally understand why you don't like it.
I didn't
But
like
I think
it.
I like it just because I predicted that would somehow happen, and then it happened. So
I know. I
Yeah.
like how when you're giving your prediction, Steven was like, so somehow Dalinar is gonna like have honor, but also be controlled by Odium.
And yes.
yes.
We didn't talk about that in our part 1 episode. Let's get into
guess I
that.
can-
Should we recap? Maybe recap some of Josh's other predictions. So you said Shallan and Zeth would be heralds. Off on that one.
Off
And-
on
Off
that.
on that one.
And you were
Yeah.
kind of wandering around on how many heralds you wanted with the Oath Pact and everything.
Yeah.
You're kind of dancing around the idea, but wrong characters. And then with Adolin and Maya, again, you're just kind of like saying something would happen, but not really.
Yeah.
Although you did
No,
say
strong.
that Maya would heal the Deadeyes, which did essentially happen.
Yeah.
Well, kind of like it did.
They're
right?
on the track. The Unoathed
Yeah.
are now like the newest Radiant Order, basically.
Yeah, I feel like they're on the like they're her squires, like equivalent. So like
Mm.
I don't think there's anything to suggest they wouldn't become healed the same way she has become healed.
Yeah. I thought
The-
that one was actually that's one that I predicted. I didn't predict the armor spren, but I did predict that like the Deadeyes would come back and like manifest as swords for people in a crucial moment, which I feel like is pretty close to accurate prediction.
It was
That was a
hinted
good
in like
prediction.
day 1 or 2. There was a moment where they talked about all the Deadeyes at the bottom of the sea, and they're like, "What are all these swords are just hanging out here?" Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
It's also been
We're-
talked about in some Q&A for Sanderson. Yeah. Some words of Brown
has
out
it?
there about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder with things like that, how much when you're writing a book, how much is it like Brandon has decided that, oh, they're in here because he has a plan for them in the future, or just like, yeah, it makes sense that most of them ended up here and that's why we don't see as many. You know, like how much of this was like meticulously planned out, or he's like in this moment, he's like, this would be super cool if these all were able to be utilized somehow. You know,
Well, we did kind of talk about how it seems like he does kind of like leave some open strands to like kind of pick through. I was listening to a podcast with him recently. I think it was a Barnes and Noble one. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But she asked him. She was like, "So have you ever gotten a question and been like, huh, that could actually work," and then like implemented it? And he did say he has done that. So you know, this could be one of those.
I don't
moments.
think. I think that this is probably something pretty big that he always figured that Deadeyes would come back. You know?
Yeah.
Deadeye's coming back, yeah, but the idea of lassoing all of the Deadeyes for like a final climactic battle,
Right.
you know, like
Yeah.
was this scene with Adolin in the Azish Empire's mansion, whatever it is, throne room, was that envisioned ahead of time?
I don't think
Or-
so. I think especially because he's talked about how he didn't imagine Adolin being as main of a character as he ended up being,
Yeah.
which is ironic because I think most people's consensus is that Adolin was like the star of this book.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that just goes to show how like Sanderson could afford to do a better job at just kind of like you know, taking the approach of what's it, not the gardener, but the like
The gardener.
is it
Yeah,
the
the
gardener? Oh yeah, where you just like
Mhm.
follow where your characters lead you and like be
Yeah.
willing to go with them.
Mhm.
I think that that's an example. Aelin's an example of a character that he allowed to do that for him, and I think really paid off. So
Adolin
Yeah.
was like the Navani of Rhythm of War, where it wasn't really her book, but she kind of stole the spotlight. And Adolin, same here. Although Zeth was not like Zeth's backstories
Sidelined at
were
all.
not sidelined as much as Venli was
Yeah.
in Rhythm of War. Yeah.
Yeah, Adolin was like a Jesse Pinkman or a Steve
Yeah.
Harrington. Characters who are meant for like a one-off and then actually
Okay.
become the fan favorite later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I think Adolin was always meant for like as a foil to Kaladin, you know, kind of like comic relief, maybe like I don't know. But yeah, ended up being,
Everything that Kaladin hates, like
yeah,
Elidice that really hasn't done anything wrong, but he hates him just because he
right.
just has everything
Yeah.
Kaladin. Yeah.
I think looking back, the turning moment for me with Adolin was when he like went to jail the same amount of time that Kaladin
Yeah.
did in Words of
Mm.
Radiance. That kind of
Mhm.
showed
Yeah.
like, you know, that you could tell Sanderson was like kind of experimenting, like, oh, what would this character do in this situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, especially after such a huge sacrifice Kaladin had made by
Yeah,
like
jumping
jumping in there, and then like the fact that he embarrassed himself and ended up in that situation by saving him, you know,
Yeah.
like he had to do something big had to happen on Adolin's part for good or bad at that moment. So,
Yeah.
Kind of flipped him from the pompous nobleman to more of
The
a hero
likable.
type of
Yeah.
yeah, much more
Yeah.
likable. That was a big moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, you
Going
also
into the
create,
book,
yeah.
well, let's stick with Adolin for because we didn't talk about
Okay,
Adolin
okay.
much in part one.
Yeah.
Going into the book, we all said that, well, most of us, I think, we said that Adolin would probably die. We marked him as a candidate for death. So
Yeah.
what happened there? Like it seemed like we were all thinking his plot line could wrap up pretty nicely here in book 5, but I guess Sanderson decided that he was going to continue him on in a different direction.
Yeah, I think the like if we're going back to the unoathed thing,
I'm
like if
up.
that had to happen, Adolin just was the best candidate for it. So maybe that's why he had to survive.
Mm.
I think he still could have died and it would have been fine, I think, moving forward, if they're able to still work that in. But I think I did enjoy it more so to see him fall so hard, even though I'm still trying to decide if it's cheapened by being like recovered so quickly.
Yeah, a little bit, in my opinion.
I think the only pushback I have on that is that scene before, like the last battle he's a part of,
Like when
where
he's a front, like a
Yeah.
Mm.
shield
yeah,
man.
That was a very good scene, yeah.
like that was really well done. And yeah, it is cheapened by the fact that he's able to kill Abadai,
But the thing is, he's able
the
to kill
monarch.
Abadai the
Abadai
Lame.
not because of a very believable turn of events where it's like he had fostered the relationship with his armor, the
Yeah,
armor
that
sprint
was
like
earned.
acted. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
not that's
Yeah.
a central part of his character and his like journey
Yeah.
to. So I don't know.
That was super earned in like in every sense of the way. I think it is still just disappointing to have something so crucial, like such a crucial loss, be almost completely nullified in
Yeah.
the
See,
same
I
book.
think my complaint would be on the other end of him not being able to reconcile with Dalinar when that was like what it seemed like that
Mm.
moment was actually leading up to was him like
that was fairly heartbreaking, yeah.
yeah, finally like accepting the fact that like Dalinar's not perfect, but he shouldn't have to be, and that he can, you know, like that whole
I liked all that.
yeah. But like the fact that it didn't really have time to go anywhere after that. I don't know. It's kind of
I thought that was a good like I don't know I don't know, just like a good tragedy of like him realizing
Mhm.
it too late to really act on it in any
yeah.
meaningful way.
And that is like pretty true to life. Like there's tons of times where how often do you hear people say like you never
Yeah.
know what your last words to somebody are going to be. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
Yeah.
especially when you're going out to war, you know. You
Yeah,
kinda-
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Really cool
I guess
scenes with Adolin.
Yeah.
my thing with Adolin, more so than like he lost his leg and then he was still fine because he got the like
Yeah.
that's not my issue. My issue is he lost a leg and he shrugs it off. Like it's not even like an emotional thing for him. He's just like, dang, I'm down a leg. I'm still the same character, and I'm gonna continue fighting. And immediately, just like there was no emotional trauma inflicted by this at all. Like this is a really serious thing.
So
I
I
feel like,
do, yeah,
oh
go for it,
god.
Jake. Well, I was gonna say I agree with that. I think we saw him kind of say, "Oh, I can probably regrow it," and so I think he was like in the
I
denial
guess
stage
that's
for
fair.
most of it,
Yeah, yeah.
and he didn't really have time, right? Like he's probably in shock for most of this time, where he's like, so it's I think the shock combined with like the denial, combined with the fact that he's seen all these people regrowing limbs. Like, how do you, you're like, I've
That's fair.
seen limbs being regrown all the time right now. I am surely a candidate for that. So I'm not even going to let myself think about the leg being gone because that will make it less likely for me to be a candidate for it. I don't know. For me, that all kind of worked, but I do see the criticism of like it's
Mhm.
you can't just shrug that off. Anyway, people probably have different opinions on that.
That's
I
I
will.
pretty much sorry, I pretty much 100% agree with you, Ben. I think it was mostly, I think you do see a seed of it really affecting him, but then he's told like, hey, just wait till we get some edge dancers here and you'll be fine, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Um, and then, and again, that kind of amplifies why I'm a little disappointed with it being resolved with the armor is because then at the end you find out he's not going to see an edge dancer anytime soon.
yeah.
And so now he does have to deal
Mm.
with it, but at the same time, it's almost been
Well, I don't
nullified.
know. I just don't think we know enough yet. Like,
Yeah.
and it might just be, if there's a 10, however many year time jump, then he might just be used to it. I think that we just won't really know really
That's
how
Yeah.
to
actually a
judge that
question I
until
have for
later
you
books.
guys. The 10-year time jump, is that 10 Cosmerian years? I don't know, or 10 Rosharian years.
It's 10 Rosharan years, and I want to say they said it was like 70 years Cosmere standard. Is that
Okay.
right? I think that's what Kelsier was saying.
Because I actually
Somewhere between 50 and 100. Yeah.
I honestly like one of the biggest complaints about Rhythm of War is the big time jump between that and Words of Radiance. It just seemed like so much happened in that time.
You mean
Like,
Oathbringer? Like the year
oh,
between the
sorry.
two?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oathbringer to Rhythm of War. Like it seemed like start Rhythm of War and suddenly we have like Radiance flying all over the place. We have like battle formations. We have all these things. And I
Mm.
just like I feel like we're gonna have that only like multiplied a ton. Like Josh is saying, Adolin now is like fine with his leg. I don't know, like, and Yasna is like kind of accepted her or like made peace with her failings. Like all these things
Mm.
are I really wish we could explore more, and I just don't think they'll be able to be.
I think it depends
Yeah.
on again how it's handled, and this is Stormlight 6 stuff,
Yeah,
and
that's
so
true.
it could be
Yeah.
handled well, it could not be.
You never
There
I
know.
could
think
be
it's
In
going
other
to
10
be,
years,
characters.
in 10 years, maybe Adolin is, whining about stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like it's like Blokta now.
Yeah.
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 I think it's going to be a hard thing to follow up on in book six because like Yasna, I think, and Adolin are really good examples of two characters who are left needing to grow.
Yeah.
And if we are just going to like do 10 years later, you either have to have that really affect them and like, like the only way I can see it really working is if you make them like really struggle with these things even worse and then they have to get out of it. Otherwise, it's like you can't just pick up, right where you left off 10 years
Yeah.
ago. But it'd be
So,
tricky.
and to keep on going with that, does that mean Shallan has been wandering around in Shadesmar for 10 years? Because there's no way she's going to make it back into the physical realm in that time. Like, that seems like a
Yeah.
big event. We can't
That
just
we want
miss
to see on
that in the
page.
time. Yeah. And so then she will have a kid with,
Yeah.
like, she'll have gone through all, like, she'll be in a completely different space and we'll have missed all of that in the time jump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10-year-old child.
Perhaps with
Nine.
with Herald blood, whatever that means.
I mean, yeah, we know she has like a little more fortune, right? That's what her
Yeah.
heraldic blood has given her so far. That's all we are aware of. But
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe does that dilute over time, or maybe it skips a generation and her child will be Tom
Feels like it'd
2.0.
probably dilute, right? I mean, I don't know how Cosmere genetics really works, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels like it.
Depends on the allele, I suppose.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean, those light eyes pass along pretty heavily. Like they're very, very dominant genes, it seems. So I wonder if
That's true.
is
That's
genetics
true.
different in the Cosmere?
But that's not coming from heralds. That's coming from sprint associations, right? The light eyes.
Is it? I mean, I just talking like general like light eyes in a Alethi society, like every light-eyed family. Like I don't think it talks about like a random child of light eyes being born dark eyes ever. I don't remember ever hearing that.
Yeah. I guess I was talking about
So
something
like
different.
recessive genes
But
don't exist or what?
they do, or
can,
maybe it's just opposite. The
can
light
we?
is
Yeah, maybe
dominant.
light eyes is dominant. Can we talk
Okay. Yeah,
about
maybe we're getting sidetracked. Yeah, keep on going.
this is a fun theory. Was patterns mating thing supposed to be foreshadowing all along to the fact that like Shallan was going to
Oh,
be pregnant at the end?
I haven't heard that, but I'm saying yes.
Pentology
Although,
retroactive
I
guarantee.
mean, not foreshadow. We knew they were mating, right?
But we didn't know they were mating,
Made,
like
yeah.
I think we
mating
knew
with
they were
a
mating.
child at the end of it. I don't know.
I
We
I
didn't
think
we
we
didn't know if they were
knew.
baiting with the intent of procreating.
Yeah, contraception has never been discussed in the
It has
Cosmere.
actually, hasn't it? I thought
Has
that they
it?
could. I feel like somebody talked about some mixture that they could have. I think Shallan was talking about it one time.
A
Uh,
bitter tea,
yeah.
perhaps.
What
Somebody
do
can
they
give us
call
that
that in
reference.
what do they call
Little
that
time.
in Song? Isn't there one in Song of Ice and Fire too that they take? There's a
Yeah.
specific name.
Oh, moon tea. That's what
Something like, is that what it is?
that's uh Alicent has so much of
Mm.
in House of the Dragon, the moon
Uh,
tea.
anyway, I just think
I
that was pretty awesome.
hadn't heard that, but I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say that
You're
was
on board with that.
foreshadowing. Even though I already knew, I assumed they were mating. But yeah, was he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a steamy shower scene, you knew some
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there must be some reason for that.
The
I don't know.
shower
Queen
was
Fen
steamy, the
didn't
scene
have
was steamy.
yeah.
Dude, Queen Fen is way too old to have a kid. She's like 70 years old.
Get some biblical stuff happening in here.
Let's stick on Shallan. So we never really discussed the whole Chana arc, kind of because we basically knew that it was happening before the book even started. Like,
Yeah.
what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, if you throw that out, I thought it was executed really well, but it's kind of impossible to remove that from the judgment of the way that it happened. It's kind of
So
a weird thing for me.
this is actually something I might want to do like a one more episode on this where we track down a few of our friends that aren't as in the fandom and ask them about some of these things. Like
Mm,
we have a few friends that like read the books but kind of like more casually.
sure.
Um
Yeah.
and it would be cool to get their takes on this because yeah, you're right. Like that was kind of ruined a little bit. Like if you had spent any time on Reddit or like watching channels like you're watching now, you knew that that was coming and it wasn't a surprise. Which I do feel like a whole like arc was kind of leading to that surprise, right? Like
hmm
Shallan, like having the one-sided conversation that ended up being a two-sided conversation with her mom, like
There was a
that,
lot. Yeah, there was a lot of page count devoted to
yeah.
this.
So, which I feel like, yeah, we kind of missed out on that payback, or maybe, yeah. I agree wholeheartedly with it, what you're saying, Stephen. Like, if you weren't as engrossed in the fandom, you would have had a much different experience reading that.
Yeah, my opinion has always been I feel like he made a big mistake on releasing the prologue early. It just like was the nail in the coffin for confirming that theory. It was way too obvious, and if it hadn't been released as early, it would not have leaked out nearly as much. I mean, I know it was already out there, but that was just like so obviously
And
confirming
the fact
for
that
a
he
couple
changed,
reasons.
and the
I
fact that
think it's
he
the change.
changed,
I think it's the change that confirmed
the
it.
change confirmed it.
I
Like,
think if it was just like the original that was out there soon enough, I really don't have an issue with any of it. I have an issue with them changing it just because I don't feel like it needed to be changed. Like it's just another piece of foreshadowing, like I don't and like hinting at the
well, I
mystery.
mean, there's always a balance, right? Of how obvious you want something to be foreshadowed.
hmm
Yeah, but I
Like
think saying
how
the
many people do
color,
how many people have
saying
red hair?
but all the Horn Eaters have red hair.
How many
Like
people
and the
how
heralds
How
aren't
many
we know the
main
heralds
characters that we care about have red hair.
But
Like,
there's nothing for us to connect her to Shallan other than the same color of hair. But all the Horn Eaters have red hair, and all like the Heralds all came from a different planet. So their genetic pool, speaking of genetics again, is completely different. So you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
Like,
again, we're talking about a casual reader. A casual reader is going to read about a herald having red hair and being, oh, I know who else has red hair.
no, I don't
Like,
think a casual reader would be automatically assuming that she's the mom. You know,
I
like why
don't
would
think
she?
yeah, I don't know that casual reader would. For honestly, for me, the change went from like 99% to 100% confirmed.
Yeah, the
The fact that
change.
it was in there at all, and then also the Stormfather saying that a herald died at that moment, along with the other evidence of like
Yeah,
Shallan ending the world and Tall not breaking, like it all just the prologue, those two things just put everything together, and it was obvious.
which at the same point, like same time, I don't have any problem with that. Like that is just
that is
again,
kind of
like
the
he's he's
sorry.
going to reveal it in this book at some point explicitly. These are just clues leading up to it. It's in the same book that he does reveal it. So I don't see anything wrong with laying those hints right then.
It's
Like,
also kind of the bargain that you're making by being a fan, right? And by like watching
Yeah,
these spoilers and by like doing the pre-release chapters.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
you are
The
kind of
very
like
the
signing
very
up for that.
desire to unearth these theories is what just ends up destroying you.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that
yeah,
Sanderson has kind of just made the decision. He's like, look, I like the fan interaction, and if people are okay with potential spoilers, like I'm not gonna,
Mhm.
shy away
Yeah.
from it.
Look, I think it's fine. I mean,
yeah. I
he's
think
done
it's
things all
fine.
the time like this, like with Warbreaker releasing all the drafts as he went through and wrote it. Like it's cool. If you don't, if it's a take it or leave it thing. You can take it and interact with it and have fun with it, or you can leave it
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
enjoy it as you read it. Like
And I
it's
think it
totally
was
not.
good pacing for the reveal. I just don't understand why he changed it. Like that, honestly, am I like
It
I
was
don't.
probably beta reader feedback. It was like, this
But like
is
what I don't
So
understand
that's the beta reader feedback that he accepted.
we're just
as the non-beta reader plebe over here, I don't understand like the criticism of it on it's just
well,
weird that
again,
it
I
was
think that this
highlighted
is
by the change.
this
But
is again one of those things that I think we should have somebody on here that isn't as engrossed in this as we are to kind of pick their
Mm.
brains about it.
but like either way, for my opinion, Ben, if someone who isn't as engrossed does pick up on it, then I think it served its purpose and that was good. And if they don't pick up on it, then I think it's fine. Other people will.
No,
Like
again,
I
but
don't see it
Jake,
as
I think that Sanderson aims for like, what does he say? Like 70, 20, 10 or something. Like 70% of the people should realize as it's happening that this is what was foreshadowed. 20% should get it like a chapter before, and 10% should pick up on it like way before. And so I think that
I
yeah.
if
thought it was
that
10% are like clueless still.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I don't know. It's some, but that's what I'm saying is that like if he's aiming for that percentage and he's getting like feedback that says, oh, like 60% picked up on it at this point, and that's just not
Yeah.
the plot that like beat that he's going for, I think it's
But
okay to
but
cheat.
I don't think that the reason the ratio was a little bit off, it wasn't because of anything in this book. I feel like it was set up really good in this book. It was just the fact that the
Yeah.
details that we needed were released, last year
But
or
again,
two
how
two
many
years
people
ago,
are
whenever that
keeping
was.
track of that? Like what percentage of his reading base is keeping track of that? That's my question.
It gets out there. Like once it's that obvious and it's on Reddit over and over again, there's YouTube videos, like it gets out.
Yeah. I have no issue with it. But when it comes to her being Shallan's mom, um, I thought that was cool. I love the fact that this was first hinted at by the literal like one of the first things you read about Shallan of
Mhm.
like the world is ending and she caused it or
Shallan was to
whatever.
blame. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that's great. I really like that as foreshadowing and the fact that that's all you have to go off of. Um, and people are able to piece this together. Like that's fun.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool that we got her foreshadowing in book two, and then we learned that wasn't all of it in book four, and then we learned that wasn't all of it in book five. Like it fits
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
persona of the lies and not really ever really
She
knowing
has
what the
so
truth
many,
is. Yeah.
but wait, there's more moments. Like
Hmm.
so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Shallan is definitely one of it's tough because this book was Shallan didn't get nearly enough screen time for me, but like it still developed her character a ton. Like I wanted more Shallan in this book for sure. Um Like trade out for me, it was like trade out the mink for Shallan, not trade out the mink for Yasna. You
You
know?
guys say trade out the mink all the time. The mink had like a page.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I was listening to that. I was like, yeah, I was like, it was an interlude, wasn't it? It was like
Doesn't
one
I think
matter.
interlude.
yeah,
I was probably just ranting about how dumb of a character the mink
which
is.
I think it's fine to like to dislike the character and like what he did in this book, but like if you're trying to like trade time, like you're not getting any time back by taking over the mink's
That's
time.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
The trade that I want is Abadai for L. Just directly trade those two
Yeah,
Yeah,
characters.
That's fair.
100%
yeah,
agree. You could
Um,
have,
yeah.
yeah,
what
Yeah.
here's my thing going off like the whole spoiler section. What did we think about the Sunlit Man? Because for me, the Sunlit Man
I was
spoiled
bummed.
more
Yeah.
of Sigzil's character arc, right? Because I knew that Sigzil survived, right? Like that
And you have
it's
this huge foreboding death rattle
yeah.
in Wind and Truth, like predicting apparently Sigzil's
Mhm.
death, but it means nothing because you
Yeah.
know he survived.
So you hear that and you're like, oh, well, this isn't true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm
also
100% with you on this, Ben.
like for me, it was also kind of like a misdirect because in Sunlit Man, he talks about like how he failed so badly. And you're like, oh man, he's like broke his oaths and stuff. And I'm like, just none of this. Like he did better than anybody else could have in that position. Like he held on to the Shattered
Yeah.
Plains and then like made the best of this terrible situation. He only broke his oaths to save his friend. Like all
Which
these
is
things.
better. It's like obviously the better choice there.
Right.
Like,
And I know that his friend didn't think so, right? Like, didn't he try and talk to her at one point or something? But
yeah,
like, yeah, so um
I don't know that she didn't think so. I think it was more
she
of
was
just
too
like
hurt,
there's like an
yeah.
understanding here, but at the same time, like, yeah, maybe I don't want to see you.
Yeah, which
which
is
is
fine.
better than her being dead.
But again,
Like,
like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, maybe I'm sure there's people that would prefer to sacrifice themselves than to I don't know.
yeah,
I
I
I
understand
agree
what you're
with you.
saying.
But
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is the Sunlit Man was just kind of crazy because A, it spoiled the fact that Sigzil didn't die. Because for me, I'm like Sigzil's a prime candidate to die if not for the Sunlit Man. And
Mm.
B, um, like it just didn't fit really with what I had like the canon I built up in my head for from the Sunlit Man, you know?
Yeah,
I
I
think
do
it's
think
fine
the
that I do think it's fine. Just I'll let you go, Jake, but I think it's fine that that he was blaming himself. Like it's natural and that with everything that he went through to blame yourself, even for us as an outside reader, are like, no, you did a great job, man. Like it's natural to say like,
But
oh
what
man,
was
I
he
could have
blaming
done more.
himself for? Like for losing the Shattered Plains, for killing his
I
friend,
think it's
for
just
Yeah,
breaking his
For,
oaths.
for his friends
well,
dying,
and for yeah, for
yeah,
what's his face dying. I think that
Dre.
was one of yeah,
yeah.
Dre dying.
Yeah,
Was it Dre or
it's
Leighton or both?
I think both.
You don't remember. Okay. Yeah. Friends dying.
Yeah, I I agree. I was disappointed. I was told to read Sunlight Man ahead of time, and so I did. And I don't think it gave me any good context into the broader Cosmere that was necessary for Wind and Truth, and instead, like,
Just kind of
ruined
spoil it.
some really good
Mm.
moments of tension, as well as I agree. I was disappointed with I think that's totally valid, Stephen, of like him being harder on himself than we are is a normal thing. And like I think that's good character. But it's so hyped up in the Sunlit Man how much like he failed, like didn't live up to like it's I can't remember exactly what it says, but I got the feeling the Sunlit Man that he didn't live up to its oaths. Like something
Yeah.
he like something about
Mm.
his character himself didn't allow for him to live up to his oaths when instead he did he he lived up to the letter of the oath of a windrunner of protecting somebody else. He was protecting
Yeah.
his friend by breaking the oath. So I was disappointed by that as well. I in our parts one through like the first part of this book, I predicted that he wasn't going to break like lose his spirit in this book, and he wasn't going to reconnect or to connect with the Skybreaker Spren in this book. I thought that must happen like years after. I thought those were like yeah, years after both of these things, and years after each other, and I was totally wrong on that. I was more it kind of felt a little too neat, but I was excited to see how Sigzil kind of rehabilitates Zeth's
Mm.
Spren though.
Yeah, I
Because
know
that's a an opposite thing where it's like, oh, cool, I see how like Ox is in Sunlit Man, and he's definitely not at that point right now, you know.
yeah, yeah. I do kind of feel bad for 11214 or whatever his name was. He seemed like he was just
Ox.
kind of,
One, one,
yeah.
two, one, two, four.
Yeah.
Spells out ox.
Oh, okay.
Did you
Yeah.
know that?
I didn't.
The
I
letters. The
A
letter
is
A is
1,
one.
21 is you,
I hate
21
that
is
so
you.
much
24 is
because
X.
somehow in how does that make sense? Like how do the numbers line up? You know,
Don't worry about it, Jake.
Yeah. It's just another cheesy Brandon joke, Jake.
yeah, I know. I
Anyway,
know.
yeah, I feel like he just kind of got a bad rap. Like he was kind of thrown in out of his, like who takes like the one honor or the yeah honor, wait, it's not honor sprint, it's
Hi,
High
Spren.
spread.
high
Nice,
sprint
friend.
that like hasn't taken a radiant yet and gives them to the one that's supposed to become a herald. Like I feel like they kind of mismanaged that. That's not an ox
Yeah,
problem. That's like a that's a nail
yeah.
problem.
It's a management
Which
problem.
Yeah.
which I mean, seeing how Nail is, it tracks.
Yeah. It's true. But anyway, if anybody asked me for like a proposed reading order, Sunlit Man is coming directly after uh, uh um this book,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I haven't read all the secret projects yet. I think actually Sunlit Man's the only one I've read, and I would say dead last in the Cosmere so far. Like,
As far as the
so
timeline, not the rating of the book, or
no, the reading of the book. Like you read that book after every
no,
other
no, the
Cosmere
rating,
book.
the rating of the book, like
Oh,
Oh, no, I didn't say rating. I
just
said
the
the
timeline, just
reading.
the time. Okay,
just
Yeah,
the
reading
just
timeline.
time.
order.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, reading
Okay.
order is dead last. No,
Rating
I
is
like
pretty good.
I like
Yeah.
Sunlit Man. It's not perfect, but I liked
Yeah.
it for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay, let's circle back to the Dalinar, the Sunmaker's Gambit and the Blackthorn persona, like all of this. So there's some things I liked and some things I didn't like. Overall, I think it was, the subversion and the surprise and everything. Like that was well done. I'm glad that the big twist wasn't predicted. Like this was the biggest part of the book, and I'm glad that that wasn't out there. Like
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
Gavinor thing and the Chana thing was. So like all in all, I was fine with it, except for the Blackthorn persona. I feel like that really cheapened the whole thing. That Odium still got what he wanted, even though Dalinar like made the big
That's the
sacrifice to
whole thing
do the
with that.
opposite
Okay,
thing.
that is literally the whole thing with Teravangian is he always finds a way to get what he wants no
But
matter what
it was due to
happens.
dumb luck. It had nothing to do with his scheming. It was dumb
Maybe or
luck.
maybe
No, it was
it
dumb
was
Well,
luck
I
that
don't I don't
Dalinar
know that it was
connected enough.
I don't know that it was dumb luck, Jake, because he did like Odium was involved in the visions.
we
Perhaps
literally were told over and over and over that
he was
Odium was
trying
controlling the
to
visions.
like
Oh
create
yeah.
this level of whatever from Dalinar in order to make it possible to suck it out of the
Yeah.
spiritual realm.
I
However
feel
that
like
works. It's a little hand wavy, but I feel like he
I feel like
maybe
if that
tried
were
that.
his plan, if his plan was, I'm going to put him in these visions, not just to torment him and break him, and not just to break Gavinor, but also to get Dalinar to connect with the Blackthorn so then I can pop it out of the spiritual realm as its own thing, as a contingency
Why
plan.
why was that not the plan? It seems like that was
He doesn't know. I'm saying if that was the plan, he should have said something, but instead the book is written as if, well, I guess I can do this now. Like if you read his POV at the time, it's not good thing I had this contingency plan. Good thing I
That's
like
fair.
was thinking these through. It's just, oh, Dalinar connected with the Blackthorn. I'm gonna pull it out now, and that's why I don't think you can chalk that up to Teravangian's
It's a bit
intelligence.
Sauron Rings of Power type of thing
It's
going
like,
on.
oh, I found myself in this situation. I'm going to take advantage of it. It's not, I have meticulously crafted myself to be in this position to do
See,
this thing.
my big issue is actually not about that. It's like if Teravangian or Odium is now free to move about the Cosmere, like the fashion seatbelt lights have been turned off for him, then why does he even need a general to conduct the troops? Like, couldn't he just
He's
do it?
he's not free, or is he?
Yeah, he's free. The
Is
honor,
he totally
the
free?
yeah, totally free.
The agreement is
Oh, it's dissolved.
off the
Yeah.
table. Yeah.
So
No, wait.
Yeah, man,
Walk me through this.
he's planning on going to Scadrial. That's like part of his
I
thought process.
I know he's planning on it, but what does the reforging the Oath Pact do? Because when
it protects
this
it protects
this
the
friend.
spren.
is that all it did? Like, I thought it had some sort of
I think that's it.
Well, I think it's also protecting the remnants of honor, which are the spren.
right. But I thought that was like, I thought reforging also restrained odium in some way as well. Maybe not.
I don't think so. I mean, odium is really no longer even a thing. It's retribution now.
Yeah,
And honor's no longer a thing, other than
yeah,
this friend.
Hey,
yeah.
my theory's still going.
Other than that, that has been salvaged
And the
and
baby
set
honor.
aside. Baby
Yeah.
honor. Yeah. Anyway, okay, sorry. I misunderstood that there.
Well, yeah, so that's going
Continue.
back to my issue. It's like if he can conduct, because before it was like you need a general to go out, like go places I can't
In
go
his
because I'm
stead,
bound.
yeah.
Yeah. He talks
know?
about now needing like a regent for Roshar when he goes out on his other,
Oh,
whatever else he's trying to do. That's something he
yeah, but that can
mentions.
be L, like he already
It
has
should be
regents.
L.
It
L
should
is
be
It seems
freaking
L.
like L
awesome,
is being
and
set up for
it
that.
deserves to be L. If it's like the Blackthorn is the regent of Roshar,
No, the Blackthorn is not meant to rule. The Blackthorn is meant to conquer. Like that
Yeah.
is, although weird, maybe speculation. L likes humans and like he's fascinated by humans in a somewhat egalitarian way compared to other fused. What if Odium goes off and he has another like Bado Mishram thing going on, and L's like, actually, I've unified these people together now, so we don't need you. There's no need for war. Although, like, would there really be need for war with Odium not being Odium, being just retribution? I don't know.
I
I
think
mean, there's
that's
still like a massive conflict on the planet.
yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, yes, but I mean, like the main driving force between the fused and the humans, like, I don't know.
So that's Jake. You actually mentioned something else that I wanted to talk on that we didn't do last time is the whole Mishram thing. I liked so much about that.
I
I
really
just
liked it.
like when she was freed, it just like needed to go somewhere. You know what I mean? Like my pet
Mhm.
theory was that she would like end up tempting the shard of odium away from Teravangian, which like
Yeah, that
it's
was
fine that
definitely being
didn't
set up to
happen.
do that.
Yeah, but like she just kind of left, and it's kind of one of those again like 10-year gaps like that just feels like something needs to
They,
happen now.
yeah, there were a few things that got a lot of page count in this book, or at least were like intriguing, that are clearly setups. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of weird how in previous books that was fine because, oh
Mhm.
yeah, in the future we'll get to that. But now that it's like, no, we have a destination, like everything needs to be resolved. And now we're unhappy with all these things. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I do agree. Like, Bado Mishram did get a lot of focus in starting in book 4 and on to 5. And
And
yeah, maybe
she's
at least like some impact and then promise of a future bigger impact.
Yeah, like
fully set up to be a challenge to Odium in this book, like a potential solution to defeating Odium in this book.
yeah.
I in isolation, I really enjoyed and like was completely satisfied with the arc. Like I was satisfied with letting that be a mystery for later on. I think where I'm more hung up on is, and this is part of just this book, I need time to process things completely, is like she was set up to defeat Odium, but Odium doesn't exist anymore. So what purpose does she even have? Like what relevance can she have at all anymore? And the idea of like the humans and singers, like she
Yeah.
represented them, their piece together, but we already kind of have that. Odium's Teravangian promised it, which I wouldn't trust his promises, but under L, like I was saying, I kind of assume that it's going to go that way. anyways, and then there'll probably be like some like I see humans and singers on Teravangian side being egalitarian, and there being some sort of underclass of the other ones they conquer. Like the holdouts that get conquered are going to
So
be
you feel
like,
where we're at this point has kind of undermined the significance of Baido Mishram.
yeah, and it's not so much a critique right now as much as what happens with Dalinar and Teravangian with Retribution and all of that is such a like board wipe and like board flip, I guess I should say, that like I have no idea how that is
Oh
going to
man, is that
impact these
another
fallen
foreshadowing?
pieces.
Is that a foreshadowing I just didn't pick up on?
That's
Yeah.
the Sunmaker's Gambit.
The board flip. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
that's not the Sunmaker. The Sunmaker's
Was that one
Gambit.
not?
No. The board flip was
It's
just
to-
a little thing from the epigraphs. Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
The Sunmaker's Gambit was that if to make somebody more powerful so that everybody else was getting up on them.
Oh,
Like if
right,
there's
right,
three
right.
more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
the flip the board and walk away thing,
That's what I always interpreted his move at the end was. Yeah. Just
no,
like,
it was the Sunmaker. He literally called it the Sunmaker's Gambit.
well, no, I'm not saying it wasn't Sunmaker's Gambit. I'm just saying my interpretation of the events was I was interpreting it more as a board flip the whole time. I wasn't thinking of the other part, just because it is very much like damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I'm not playing the game, you know.
Yeah, I guess. I just think it's more it's more specific.
It didn't know. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is the
they did a
Sunmaker's
good
Gambit. I'm
job.
not saying
I
it's
just
not the
think- yeah.
Sunmaker's Gambit.
They just did it. I just really enjoyed that. Sorry, I just really enjoyed that they like set up the Sunmaker's Gambit, like explained it all.
Yeah.
And then that's exactly the move that Dalinar did was making him too powerful to ignore so that everybody else would gang up on him.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was really
that's
well
pretty
done.
cool foreshadowing.
No,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
very
that
well
was
done.
good.
Although, like, one of my complaints would be that, like, suddenly there's a card game in here that everybody's talking about and referencing.
They've referenced the whole series.
Have they?
Yeah.
It's
I don't
it's
think
come
I
up
have.
a little. It's been mentioned, but we've never like
Yeah.
seen a game
Has
before.
it?
I'm pretty
This
confident it
this
has.
specific card game has been brought up.
Towers?
Oh yeah.
Towers.
Yeah.
Towers. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very
I didn't pick
confident.
up on that.
Yeah, I didn't pick up. I feel like, I mean, this is, I think it's if it hasn't been brought up, I think it's like an okay critique, but it is also, I think it also falls in line with a lot of things. Like this is how Brandon does things. Like I feel like in every book he introduces like something more to the world building, which a lot of times to me doesn't feel like something that's always been there, but just something he's adding now as he needs to add more
Yeah.
depth. It's kind of like his
Yeah.
idea of going wide but shallow.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
Which, ironically, this book I feel like went deep and narrow. Like
yeah, I don't know. I'm
it
still
went
trying to
back.
process it.
Well, it went back like 10,000 years, and like, but really just focused in on like 3 or
Oh,
4
sure.
settings, and just
And that, yeah, in that way, definitely.
yeah.
I really liked, so I really liked that the Sunmaker's Gambit was foreshadowed, and I liked that it was foreshadowed in Adolin's part. So the entire time I was like, when is this going to be relevant? It's got to be relevant for Azimir.
Yeah.
That's the natural assumption, right? But no, it's actually relevant for Dalinar and like the fate of the whole
That's
Cosmere. I thought that was
that's well
pretty well
done.
done. I do wonder, was there too much Towers played? Like it was a lot. Was it more than it needed to be? Like I kind of want to say like maybe we didn't need quite as much of that.
I kind of feel like that is I do think the pacing of this book is better than Rhythm of War. I don't think it's great in a lot of ways. And I think that's just one of the issues, like you're constrained to these days and like what is Adolin doing? Are we just gonna skip him for a day or two?
Yeah.
Or we're gonna give him something to do and
Yeah.
if a battle's not happening and in the inverse, if a battle is happening every day, like how do you write that in an interesting way?
Yeah.
I mean, this
like,
just goes back to like most of fantasy is people having interesting conversations while they do interesting things. And for this one, the interesting thing was playing a game. You know what I mean? Like
it did bring back really bad memories of being horrible at Gwent in The Witcher 3 and losing to the Baron too many times, failing that quest. So
the reference
There's that
that
bitter
I'm
taste in
just
my mouth.
not understanding, but
Yeah.
worked for Steven.
I mean, I
so
fully
I like
explained the reference. I said it's from
I'm-
The Witcher 3.
Well, Ben and Josh haven't played the
Yeah.
game, so yeah.
But it's just a card game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a card game quest.
I'm really good at it. I'll help you with it next time.
Yeah, I remember texting you while I was playing. I was like, I hate this game so much. I'm so bad at it.
Oh
You'd
man.
be better now with all your magic training.
Maybe.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, other points that we want to get. Oh yeah, with Shallan, the Ghostbloods. I was expecting more from I wanted more impact of the Ghostbloods. I feel like now I'm still kind of waiting for Mistborn. Now at this point, Mistborn Era 3, Ghostbloods. Like surely Ghostbloods
Yeah.
will be more interesting. Like I just feel like they never really lived up to the hype of the the
They
evilness
definitely
and
got
like
Sons of
their
Honor.
mission and like yeah, they never really
I don't
again
know.
just I feel
I
like they
think
were
it's
overrated. They were overrated like not from the book reader. They were overrated on Roshar itself. Like everyone's like, "Ooh, the Ghostbloods, the Ghostbloods." But then you're like, "The Ghostbloods? Like really?"
But really, it was Shallan that was overrating them, right? Like, who else was even talking about the Ghostbloods?
Yeah, yeah. That's fair.
Yasna.
That's fair. Yeah,
Well,
they did
the,
almost kill Yasna, so I guess
yeah,
I
but
left that out.
Yasna
Yeah.
almost treated them like an annoyance, though.
Is she?
I mean,
yeah,
It's
she
never
kind of
got
used them to
yeah.
disappear. She kind of like played them a little bit.
I
And
don't think she
was
wanted to
that
be
part of her
sidelined.
plan to be stabbed and then disappear into Shadesmar and not be able to find her way out for a long time? Was that her
No,
plan? Huh.
no. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she talks about having a hard time getting out of Shadesmar. We need
That's
to
why she was
read
gone for a
that's
little
it.
bit.
That's in the Lost Tales thing from Nexus, Josh. That was one of the stories that Ben and I were collecting all the cards for like
Oh,
maniacs.
interesting.
We need to actually read that. I'm sure it's
Do
on
that.
Coppermind at this point.
Huh.
Yeah. I kind of agree with the whole Ghostbloods. I was disappointed in that I think they did do interesting things, like developing the anti Stormlight weapons. Like I thought that was cool.
Mm,
Uh, but I also do agree that it ended up being like it never really felt like an organization. It always just felt like Mraize and then his Babsk. And
yeah,
I
Till.
do think, yeah, I can't pronounce that name, so I was going to a word I could say.
Yeah,
Um,
I give him my best shot.
um, and I do think, especially post the Lost Metal, I'm just like the Ghostbloods aren't that cool. Like I thought they were like really cheesy in the Lost Metal, and finding out that like all the cool stuff they've done and all the threatening stuff they've done is just like really just Latul, whatever her name is, and like she's gone, Mraize is gone. Mraize was a cool character. I don't know.
I
I was
mean,
just
you are skipping over Kelsier is in charge of the whole thing.
Yes, but we saw him in the Lost Metal, and I was really disappointed with their involvement in that book. I felt like they were just like this like wacky, cheesy, like um it felt like it honestly it felt like Steelheart. That's what it felt like, the Reckoners to me.
Mm.
Um and then I was disappointed with the ending of like her talking to Kelsier. It felt like playing both sides. Like, okay, yeah, everything's fine, but I'll have to see what her brother says later, where it's like, I don't know. I felt
I
like a lot of the mystery was why would Kelsey's organization be doing something so crazy? And I was disappointed that it was just like, oh, it was just this rogue person, and Kelsey's actual organization is just kind of campy.
I don't know. I think it is kind of tough because I think that he was planning on writing Ghost Bloods, um, like Era 3. He was planning on writing that instead of Era 2. So I think he was kind of just coming up with side quests for
Mm.
Kelsier to do, especially in Era 2. So hopefully he has some cool things planned for Era 3.
Yeah, I've
Are
just
we gonna
been
get
disappointed.
is Retribution gonna be there for Era 3? I really hope so.
I
I
think he
I
has to be.
I kind of feel like it's gonna be like maybe he gets there in Era 3. Do you think I can't imagine him being like resolved in a trilogy?
I don't think he's going to be resolved.
Yeah, but he'll
I
be
think that
part of the
most of the
conflict.
yeah, I think it's going to be big part of the conflict, hopefully.
Yeah. I kind of feel like in order to pace it out I'm imagining Retribution is like the big bad for the rest of the Cosmere. Maybe that's not accurate. But if that's the case, I feel like they can't confront him too much in Mistborn Era 3 when there's going to be Era 4 and then
Mhm.
Stormlight 6 through 10 and whatever else there is. But
Yeah. I don't know if
Question,
I don't know if I see Retribution as the big bad for the whole Cosmere, but go ahead, Ben. Yeah.
quick question. We see, this just shows I need a reread of Era 2. We see Wit as the
the
coach
driver.
driver, right? Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was the connection.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how he
I
got
just wanted
there.
to
Directly
confirm.
leading up to that.
Yeah. Well,
Also,
that's cool.
did we talk about this in part one? Is it really messed up that Wit just dumped the, uh, gosh, what is it called? The Dawn Shard
Dawn Shard.
on
Shard.
Sigzil like
Yeah.
that? With like,
Yeah.
I feel that that's like pretty messed up. Like,
Zero informed consent.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
liking Wit like less and less. Like,
He's kind of a jerk, man.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Sigzil thinks so too.
Yeah.
But
Like,
then on the
I've
flip side,
never.
he's like the wise dude who wants to help, and he's like connected to our crew, and he's always got the stories, and like,
I don't think he's that wise.
what is this? Like,
I'm taking shots at Wit right now.
Totally wise, man.
he's
He's the
becoming
wise
more
old
and more of
wizard.
an enigma.
Yeah.
No, I do understand he felt like it was life or death. He had like he couldn't let
Yeah,
Retribution get it. But at the same time, couldn't he just escape? Like, did he need to? I don't know.
his only way
Couldn't
off
he?
was dying, I guess, right?
Yeah, and with dying, would he have left the Dawn Shard, or would it stick with him to hit it, like at the
He
I
seemed
think
to
he was
think,
realm
more.
level?
I think he was more worried that Odium would sense it, and
Well, that's
like
what I'm
take
saying.
it
If
from
he
him.
just killed himself, though, then he would end up at
No,
Scadrial.
well,
But with
no. He couldn't just kill himself. He had to be like
Yeah, to be
totally
vaporized.
obliterated. He had to
oh,
be
also
vaporized.
he can't hurt himself either because of the Dawn Shard.
Yeah,
Anyways,
so he had to be completely vaporized. So
Yeah.
because
that
it
so
said
that
that he regenerated from the largest
Largest sample.
the
remaining
largest, yeah,
part of, yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
that's true. But I feel like there's
Guys,
some way he could have escaped rather than just dump it on Sigzil. Maybe there wasn't. If there
I mean,
wasn't, then
just
it's a
just
sucky
go
situation.
hang out with Shallan.
Yeah. Sucky
But
situation, but his fault. I mean, I guess we don't know the whole
yeah,
reasons for him reclaiming the Dawn Shard and everything, but
No, but like
Yeah,
in the
you're putting
lift
yourself
interlude.
directly right by
yeah,
Odium
yeah.
yeah,
with the shard, like, or with the Dawn Shard.
yeah.
I mean, come on. Like,
I guarantee you his. I don't. Is this a Phantology guarantee? Am I giving my first
Do it.
Phantology
Yeah.
guarantee of memory?
do it, Jake. Do
You've
it.
never done
I
it?
guarantee. I don't know.
Dude, it's a
I
crazy feeling. It's a rush. Yeah.
as I said these words, I hadn't felt this power before.
Uh-huh.
I
Jake's first oath.
Phantology guarantee that his reasoning is just the classic, well, keep your enemies close kind of thing. Like he wouldn't expect me to have it on me here. And so
Mm.
that's why I'm doing it, which is pretty lame in my opinion. There's
The
probably safer
classic.
places.
Yeah. Like he just thinks he's smarter than everyone else, and this will never actually become a problem in this way.
Yeah.
But it's like contrast that with like Lift, who as soon as she realizes the implications of having a Dawn Shard in the
You
same
mean
place.
Risen?
Sorry, Risen. Yeah, my
Yeah.
bad. That shows that I'm biased towards treating all like young women in the Cosmere the same.
Wow, Ben. Wow.
Sorry.
Just a mistake. It does not mean you're a bad person.
I feel like it does. Anyway, Risen, how she like volunteers to like leave and like put everything that she had been working on like on hold and like
Uh-huh.
and just I don't know where she's going, but she's getting out of Dodge, just because she like realizes the danger of this. It just like it really does show how kind of selfless she is and how selfish Wit is.
Yeah, good call. Good call. But yeah, as we start to see Whitmore, are we going to be like, rather than cheer from the audience, is it going to be more like
Oh.
this guy? Like, we can't trust this fool.
I like him as much as I like Kelsier at this point. I feel like
Yeah.
they're both very flawed and like like they have goals that they see as beneficial overall, but like I mean Wit even admitted it. Like he was way happier to have people suffering and dying on Roshar than let Odium out into the world. Um
Yeah, he was
and
queen. He was gambited as well. Sunmaker's gambited too with the best of them.
yeah,
You know,
I mean credit where credit's due. He was actively trying to
help them.
defeat like yeah,
Yeah,
defeat him for good there, but
Mhm.
um so yeah, similar way like I feel like Wit and Kelsier's hate for each other is another good indication of their similarities and
yeah.
not that like oh yeah Wit's way better than Kelsier. It's like no they're pretty
They're
similar in my
both
mind.
bad.
What did you
Not
guys think?
bad but just
Yeah,
flawed.
they're both great, and like honestly, Sazed like is quickly going there that same direction too. Only maybe he has a
Mm.
bit more of an excuse. Um, this is kind of changing the subject, but what did we think about like the whole Shattered Plains explanation with like this the pooling of
Okay,
onium? What?
no
Big
go
brain
ahead,
time for
sorry.
Jake.
I thought you were gonna talk about something else, but
The moon.
I will.
The
Yes, the
yeah,
moon.
I
I
want
read
to
a
talk about
theory
that
about the
too.
moon.
But yeah, but like because am I correct in assuming well, okay. Am I correct in assuming that Odium's pooling of his power at the Shattered Plains was responsible for the shattering a little bit, or was that the moon crashing down that was responsible for the
It
shattering?
was the fragments of whatever was in the moon caused
It was the
reacted
moon, yeah,
poorly with the surges in the area.
because they
And
were
the
building
surges,
that. They're the not to not on people were building like the
Uh-huh.
this huge city there
And
and using
then
the surges.
Tanner and Ray's had that confrontation
Yeah,
around the area, and that like
and that shattered.
reacted poorly with the moon fragments or if something like that, right?
it wasn't super. It's like if you read it,
Yeah,
it's like pretty. It's like we fought and then
yeah.
like
Yeah.
the did the Great Shells talk about it as well?
Yeah, I think
Like
in their little
honor
Earth
smote the
vision
planet.
of yeah.
Yeah. Um. I think it was due to that it shattered. Was Odium's pool? I assumed he moved his pool there to influence like the Parshendi. Is that do we know when
Oh,
that was first
I
there?
I think he moved it at some point because it talks about Baido Mishram and Ishar finding part of it, right?
Yeah.
And so he
Did
must
they
have
find
moved it
it?
there.
Did they both find it there though, or
I feel
did
like
they
they would
find
have
it?
found it somewhere else because he would have moved it after they found it.
That's yeah. Um, the moon thing though, I like a lot of people have been talking about the Neoden reason um theory that Neoden is a holder of the Shard of Reason. You guys
This,
are
yeah,
this
the
is
yeah.
making
theory
sense?
from the
This is a theory.
Reddit
Okay.
theory that you posted, yeah.
So I can't believe I didn't share this one. Another one I read, it must have been like way late at night, was instead of him being the holder of reason, and instead of that moon being the shard of reason, it's a shard of valor.
No,
And
that was
valor
Ryan's
has,
theory.
well, did he share that? Is he the one
I
who
I
shared
know Ryan
the
was talking
link?
about it. I'm not sure if he shared a link, but he was talking about it pretty
Mm.
early on.
Oh, well, okay. I don't know. I read a Reddit post. I don't know who shared it or where I got it, but and that Neoden was the holder of valor, and that's I feel like it his his like whole ethos and philosophy lines up. You can make the argument it lines up with reason or valor. Um, but I had always interpreted the four tones being from the four dawn shards, but maybe it is
Mm,
from the four
Mm.
shards that are on the planet, if it is reason or valor. I
To
like
fill
the
in the
idea of
gaps
leaning
there a
towards
little bit.
valor.
So what Jake is saying is that Noadon is a holder of a shard, and
I'm
there were
saying his name wrong.
actually is Neodin? It's not
No, I
Noadon?
was saying it wrong. I was saying it wrong.
Oh, okay. There was actually four shards on Roshar, not three. And the fourth one was kind of laying low and was connected to this moon. The moon came down, fragments are scattered around, and some other things happens. Well, I don't remember the full extent of the theory, but
Yeah.
interesting stuff. Yeah.
Well, I think valor lines up more thematically, just because I think valor and honor are could be seen as really similar. Like if I feel like a lot of the interpretations of honor in Stormlight are really as well interpretations of how to be valorous, right? And it might be just because most of it has to do with fighting too. Like it's a valiant thing, I guess I should say, to go and like save your comrades and that kind of stuff. And
Do you know who the holder of valor is?
oh, originally it was Wit's girlfriend, correct?
It
Or
was?
spurned lover. Wasn't
Is that true?
wasn't it hinted at that? Like, because Endowment was like, no, she doesn't want to talk to you. Like, she never will, or something like that.
She Valor does not want to talk to Wit.
Yeah. And
I was not going towards a relationship there, but
I interpret it as like a spurned lover kind of situation or
hmm.
something like
I
that.
was just gonna point out that it's a dragon god named Medell and Torius. Medell and Torius. I don't feel like a
Oh,
dragon god named Medell and Torius is just like hiding out on a planet. That seems
why
too low
not?
key. Because you're like a freaking dragon
Well,
god.
we know Valor is hiding. We know they're hiding.
Why? I'm saying I don't think it's Valor for that reason. Because that feels
No,
weird
but
to
we
me.
know Valor is hiding. Valor and Reason are both hiding.
Okay, that is true. We do know that Valor's hiding. I just feel like the hiding is cooler than, investing a moon and your
Then
moon falling and
then
crashing
that
and like
no.
her.
Then them being Noadon
Yeah.
and then
All
using
right.
that moon to stop this
Honestly,
confrontation.
I was just kind of joking. I just wanted to point out that I thought the name
No.
was cool.
But it did that is a cool name, and it did bring up the fact that I can't remember why, but I did interpret Valor as some sort of ex-love interest of Wit,
Mm.
and that he's still pining after them. So
Okay, to empty the notebook here, I have four more topics we didn't touch on. We're going to do them quick. So we've got Renarin and Relaine. Didn't really bring them up at all.
they were good.
I think they're great. Sorry,
No,
are we
no,
going
no
to talk?
complaints.
Yeah,
I
sorry. Yeah, we can go
okay.
now. Yeah. Yep.
So it is
Jake good,
interesting.
Ben great. Yep.
Yeah,
If
it
you
is interesting. Like, I don't read Goodreads comments at all, but like when I was,
Oh man.
I filtered to 1 star, and like pretty much all of them were talking about how
the snowflakes.
the snowflakes were talking about how Sanderson like decided to
Went
do.
full woke.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? It's so funny because I never saw that criticism on Reddit. So it kind of shows
Yeah.
the like different places attract different criticisms. But I loved it. I think that their relationship had been hinted at, not even hinted at, just like
Oh yeah.
glaringly
It
like,
was
yeah.
it was well built up, I would say.
You
And
didn't have
I
to be a
thought
part of the fandom to see that one coming.
yeah. And I thought it was a really good, like, they're both very like fish out of water kind of
Yeah,
characters and in completely different ways, but
but
it worked
yeah,
out.
like they're
Yeah,
they're both like spurned by their societies, but like both also love where they come from, and
yeah.
just yeah, totally understand each other and connect with each other on so many different levels. So I really like that. And I like that it although like I see why people think that it like shoehorned wokeness, like I just don't think it was. Like
It
I thought it
doesn't
was
feel
great.
shoehorned at all to me. And so I Googled Wind and Truth as we are getting ready for the podcast just to pull up some notes and like Coppermind. And one of the first videos that came up was by this guy, John De La Rose. Never heard of this YouTuber. He has 50,000 subscribers. I'm going to call him out right now. His video that came up
Oh, heck yeah, we're
is
doing this again.
titled, oh yeah, is titled Brandon Sanderson ruins the Stormlight archive with LGBTQ insanity in Wind and Truth.
Oh man.
Insanity, first of all,
Insanity.
and and
Dude,
with Wind
dude,
and Truth, because there's been no LGBT stuff ever in the rest of his Cosmo works. And then in the description it says Brandon Sanderson was the last best hope for epic fantasy, but Wind and Truth destroys the Stormlight archive with wokeness.
I'm
honestly,
so sorry.
Come on.
Did you guys see me? Did you guys see me go make some comments on our YouTube channel?
No.
Oh,
The-
there's been a few
yeah.
snowflakes that popped up there. Yeah.
Some
Oh
people
man.
commented
on our
on there.
video.
I've been
Yeah,
ignoring those ones, and Josh
yeah,
has
and
been
so I went
handling
in on
them.
my personal YouTube account and replied. Um, but it's just like, come on, like they held hands. Like I don't. Did they even kiss
Yeah.
on screen?
They do.
I think they
They do.
kissed. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Okay, all right,
in my
whatever.
opinion, it's less annoying to do this than it is to do like the half-baked pandering where it's like
Uh-huh.
Buzz Lightyear or whatever, like where you get like a 1 second
The queer
like
baiting.
yeah, the queer baiting where it's like if you're gonna do it, just do it. Like just go all in on it. And it's not even like he went all in on it.
He
He
didn't go
just
all
it
in.
was just
He had
so
he had
natural and
yeah, it was
like
natural. Yeah.
okay, first of all, yeah, if you're gonna have problems with their relationship, they're different species, let alone like the same gender, which like you really, I don't know. It just seems so crazy to me. And first of all, there have been LGBTQ characters in other
yeah.
of Sanderson's books.
That's
Like,
the part that kills me. It's like, this is book 5. Have you not been reading? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And Mistborn, like era 2, there's some gay characters.
if you're the person
There's-
making this comment, you've probably just skimmed over these things
yeah,
in the past, right?
there's
this
Saza,
is a
who is
whole
definitely
video on the book, though. This
th-
is not a
there-
random one-off
yeah.
YouTube comment.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
I googled it too, Jake. And
See-
you have Daniel Green's you have Daniel Green's review, then you have Matt's review, and maybe those are both showing up for me because I listened to them. But
Mhm.
then you have this, review. He went full woke with a picture of Brandon Sanderson. It looks like this is a AI created
It
Oh,
definitely
wait,
is. Yeah.
was image of Sanderson holding a pride flag,
Oh, gosh.
marching, like
Sorry to
yeah, this,
derail, guys.
I can't believe they didn't screen capture him when he
no,
was wearing like
call-
the Taylor Swift
Oh, the sparkles,
the sparkles.
bedazzled.
That would have
Yeah.
been so great if they would have gotten that screenshot of
yeah.
Low
Anyway,
effort.
and yeah, this
Low
guy is
effort.
low effort. Come on, guys.
this dude has 53,000 subs. Yeah, screw that. Called out.
Yeah.
All right.
Clip this.
Are we doing what was the YouTube channel that we got into a
Nice.
little fight with on the
Knights table, Knights
No,
watch.
it was
The little
definitely
YouTube-
one-sided.
Night's
Definitely
Watch?
Yeah, we
one-sided
didn't
fight.
get into any
Yeah.
tiff.
Well, okay. Yeah. Well, we tried to punch up at them, and
Yeah.
they did make like one comment on our video, I think, actually. So there was one thing.
Spicy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Are we? So Jake is prepared
I-
to accept the consequences of.
Wait. I think Jake and Josh need to do another episode where they
Jake-
call out these YouTube videos and just
I will do a short episode of
Jake and Josh mess around.
Jake and Josh mess around.
I'm going on this guy's subreddit, this guy's community page on YouTube to see if he has any.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
man.
we can keep going with
Yeah.
the review though.
Okay,
I,
so
I
that
like
that went on for longer than 1 minute, but okay, good.
I like
good.
their plot. I was disappointed just in like the overall impact is like to the story. It's like
To me,
really hard to know.
we
what-
talked about
what
that with
was.
like Mishram
Yeah.
exiting. Like they're
Well, I think
But,
they're
like, and even-
positioned in a really important way for the second half of the series.
I love the foreshadowing of like them
Yeah.
being into like a wedding attire of each other's like cultures. I thought that was great. Like
And accepting being in a position where like no one's really gonna like them.
yeah,
Yeah.
so good. And I also kind of with that, I really liked the background that we did get for Elaine, like of how he became a spy and how that really like hurt.
Yeah, that was sad.
I
Yeah.
thought, yeah. But I thought that was well needed because like it was kind of like, how did what happened? Like,
Like,
how are you here?
Why is he still around? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
I
Okay,
kind of felt like that.
Guys, this is getting bad. I'm sorry.
no,
Back on this channel.
Josh, have you already opened fire?
He has multiple
Josh is-
videos. He has multiple.
Josh has joined his
videos dunking on
Patreon so you can
Sanderson.
get at him from the inside.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
Yeah.
We'll do this
yeah.
offline. We'll do this
Okay,
offline.
this is unfortunate.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going, Josh.
Okay, yeah. Next topic, Moash.
Disappointed.
I was fine with it. I liked him going and killing Bridge for peeps. I think
I thought that was
cool.
cool.
Josh is a fan. Okay.
I thought
You
that
guys
was
are
cool.
you guys are on the Dan Wells team.
See,
I love Moash.
to
I
me-
thought that was cool. I just don't think he did enough.
Bridge 4 taps and
yeah,
everything.
to me,
Yeah.
I think that realistically for me, and again, I don't want our listeners to think that think that we could write this better than Brandon because like obviously we can't. But like I think that Moash would have been a great like he didn't need the black form because Odium has Moash. You know what I mean? Um,
Mm.
I think that he already has like this OP general that's like willing to be ruthless and go do anything.
I see
Ultimately,
Moash as a
Moash is in
general
this,
though.
but he's in the same position he was at the beginning of, like, his character is not advanced for quite some time, except for physical changes, and now he's like a Crystal Inquisitor.
Well, he did
Yeah,
kind of move from not feeling pain, and that was kind of his mantra, to now he feels the
yeah.
pain.
But he's still just a tool of Teravangian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He's a tool of the Shard of Odium. Like,
yeah,
and
that's
like,
true.
at this point, so it seems like he's going to be around for a while since one of our Discord friends, Nathan Towns, made this point. He said the fact that he survived this book makes me think that he's going to be around for a while because it would have been easy to
yeah,
wrap up his arc here, but it's not. Therefore, it's probably going to be an extended thing. I agree
I
with
agree
that.
with that. Yeah.
Seems like it'll be some kind of Kaladin Moash showdown at some point late in the Cosmere timeline.
Yeah, I still want it to be like I don't want the redemption for Moash. I want there to be catharsis between their confrontation and like it to be Kaladin like understanding he needs to have compassion on Moash and like put him out of his
Mm,
misery kind of way. Not necessarily having to kill him if that's not how it goes, but like
yeah.
I want there's some catharsis there with their foils of each other. But
Okay.
yeah, just disappointed he didn't do more.
Next one, Lift and Basher. And by the way, Lift is scheduled to be the book six main flashback character.
I am interested to see where it goes in the future. I feel like not enough happened for me to be super stoked about it, but
Mhm.
and I kind of felt like it was a little hand wavy of Vasher just being like, "You have the most natural raw talent I've ever seen in anybody. You're coming with me." Like, okay,
No, she totally owned
she did,
what's her
she
name?
did,
Accenduith or whatever, the
Yeah,
Faroukmist.
accent, yeah.
yeah,
That
she did. But like, I feel like there Kaladin's done way cooler things, and Vasher hasn't been like, "You're coming with me." But I don't know.
Yeah. I've never been a huge Lift fan, but I'm totally open to 10 years pass. She matures a little bit, and I think her backstory, like all the backstories, has potential to be interesting. So let's see where it goes in book six. Okay,
Yeah.
final one, Gavinor. I mean,
I liked
not
it.
not the Gavinor twist, not the Gavinor as the champion. We talked about that. I'm talking more about like the Gavinor character, like because he will continue to be a character for the rest of the books. I think really interesting potential.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah,
set up to be a really cool, like gray character. Like he could be a villain, he could be like another Moash type thing where, some people really want him to be good, but I don't know. I think that there's so many cool ways that you can take
Hmm.
Gavinar. Yeah.
I hope you really get inside his psyche of being tortured into hating Dalinar, but then Dalinar sacrificing himself for him and like
Ah, so
realizing
cool, man.
that he
Yeah.
was just being used. Like I that's really interesting to explore. I hope we get a lot of that
Yeah.
in at least one of the books. I don't think he needs to have a huge role for more than one book, but I want him to at least have a good sized
Yeah.
role in
Yeah,
one
for
book.
sure. Can I just bring up, um, I know that you weren't a fan of the Yasna fan, and we talked about it a lot last time. I I was like thinking I was stewing on this because I'm like, I think I
Okay,
liked it and you guys didn't.
new
Um,
new bits to the argument here.
I think that I think the reason why it worked, and I don't think I said this last time, was because Odium or Teravangian was trying to recruit Yasna the whole time. It was never about Fen. It was only ever about trying to convince Yasna to come work for him. And the way that he was trying to do that was by breaking her down, showing her that her like point of view was a good, or that the ultimate good would be to work with him. So I don't like the whole Fen deciding thing. To me, that was like a non-issue. Like he could take the kingdom how in like multiple different ways. That
Mm,
was never his goal. His only purpose was to try and get Yasna to be like a leader for
So
him
it's
on
just the same
Roshar.
thing in Oathbringer with Dalinar? Same type of
Same type
ploy?
of thing. Yeah, like he was just trying to get Yasna to come to his team, basically.
My
Mm,
Yeah, I never really had issue with the Fen thing. The Fen thing is like bad, but my main issue was just how Yasna reacted to everything. Like that.
But
So like
I think that he was trying to do he was trying to aim his arguments not at Fen, and I think that that's why Yasna was kind of sidetracked to it. Was because she was like not really prepared for like the personal attacks against her, if that makes sense.
yeah, I just don't think the uh the conflict Yasna had, I didn't think was well done. I don't think she should have had the conflict she did have. So
That's fair.
that
Okay,
that was like the crux of my issue with it.
I get that.
But I think you're right there. I hadn't thought of that. Like he was like a bigger win would have been for him to get Yasna on his side than to
And I
get
think that that's still a
him.
strong possibility. Like she is like her worldview is crumpling. Like she doesn't really like. I think that there's a chance, probably the same amount of chance that Kaladin was going to join him, like in the tower scene when he was going up against the oh what's the guy's name, the
Lesion
um
pursuer.
yeah, the pursuer, because we know that Kaladin, we had it was kind of confirmed in this book that Kaladin almost turned to Odium at that point. I think that's a similar point that Yasna's at right now, where she's like,
Mm.
I don't really know where I fit in anymore. And maybe the greatest possible good is to accept that Odium is conquered the
I
world.
feel like that's a big jump for her character.
I think that that's the
Uh,
gambit that he's making here.
I think it's a big jump, but I also was really disappointed in just like her character progression deconstruction in this book that I feel like I mentioned this. I feel like it was like two different Yasnas that we've
Yeah.
seen. And so because of that, so much is on the table at this point that I could see it happening.
Hmm.
I don't know what her motivation for it would be really at this point, Ben, other than it lining up with her philosophy. But like I don't she had more to gain at that moment than she has now by joining Teravangian, in my opinion. But
Fair. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to.
no,
That was
that's
my own
interesting.
personal like meditations on this here.
Mm. Okay, well, I think that's a wrap for Fantology's coverage of Wind and Truth, except for Jake and Josh's series of takedown videos.
And
Uh,
we gotta do a theory video at some point, right? Like a
Cosmere theories,
the
just
future of the
yeah.
Cosmere theories.
Yeah,
Mm,
maybe that we bill it as not a Wind and Truth video.
okay.
Yeah.
Wind and Truth aftermath. Where do we go from here? Type of
Yeah.
thing.
Let us
Yeah.
know if there's more appetite for this, because I always enjoy talking to you guys about the Cosmere.
These
And
are
I
one
feel
of the easiest videos to prepare for because of just the amount of time that we've been in these books.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's tough because I feel like we all kind of cut our teeth on Sanderson and Wheel of Time and stuff, and later branched out to other fantasy. At least this is my trajectory. And so
Hmm.
I feel like we spend the majority of time on our podcast talking about other books and series. And so, but like I feel like the Cosmere has such a like, you know, shaped so much of the way I view fantasy, and I just don't get to talk about it as much as I would like to. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. I'm always surprised at how bad I am at piecing together these theories. I'm like scrolling deep on Reddit and like hearing some theory. I'm like, what? How did they put this together? Like,
Dude,
anyways,
if you
it's
want to feel
fun.
Dude.
I
totally
love it.
inadequate, go to the
Yeah.
The
go to
convention.
Nexus and then go to
Yeah.
a trivia room, and I'm like in the bottom like
Yeah.
25%. But then I'm like, you know
Mhm.
what? I'll be in the bottom 25% in a room full of, this
The top
Yeah.
10%.
that's like, yeah, exactly. Like
We speaking of,
this is not a random sample of Cosmere fans.
No,
we
it's
got to do
not.
a trivia again. I won the last one and it
I
was
think
really fun.
Ryan stands a good. Ryan was always in the top, like,
Ryan was our
100. Yeah.
best Fantology performer in
That
Dragonsteel
tracks.
Nexus trivia.
Yeah, he
That
was good.
tracks.
Yeah. He was hitting top 1 to 200 out of like 1,200 people. I
Yeah.
was hitting like
Awesome.
3 to
Wow.
400.
That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
cool they had the numbers there for it for
Well,
you
it's
guys
just a
as
huge
well.
Kahoot game.
Yeah.
Oh, Awesome.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, Oathbreakers. Until next time, see you later.
See ya.
So yeah.